Thank you, Sarah. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this morning's meeting of the Licensing Act Subcommittee on a virtual meeting, 5th of August. Sorry, just moving something out of my screen. 5th of August 2020. So just a reminder, if a member experiences a technical issue, the chairman will adjourn for a short period to try to re-establish their connection. As members are called to speak, the chairman will remind you to switch on your microphone. If for some reason you cannot be heard, I will advise you. The votes will now be taken by roll call and the result will be announced by myself. Members must be present for the duration of the discussion on the application in order to be able to vote. Today we have public representation at the meeting and they are joining us by telephone. Where a member has declared a non-registrable interest, a disclosable pecuniary interest, or an interest by virtue of any trade union membership in a matter, they must leave the virtual meeting. Their departure will be confirmed and they will be invited to rejoin the meeting at the appropriate time. To confirm the procedure for today's meeting is that members of the committee who wish to speak on an item should indicate by putting an X in the chat box. Before we start today's business, I will ask the committee members to confirm they are present and state their electoral division. So members, I will now call your name. Please confirm your name and your electoral division. Councillor Foote.
Good morning, everyone. Jesse Foote, Cornwall Councillor for the St Germans and Landulph Division.
Thank you. Councillor Biscoe.
Good morning. My name's Bert Biscoe. I represent the Boscawen Division in Truro.
Thank you. And Councillor Hayward.
Good morning. My name is Sandra Hayward. I'm a Cornwall Councillor and Town Councillor for the St Austell Gover Division.
Thank you. I can also confirm the following officers are present. We have Mark Andrews from Legal, Holly Rozzo from Legal, myself, Helen Snell, Democratic Services, and our producer of the meeting, Sarah Goodall from Democratic Services. So if I can now turn to the agenda, please. And item 1, election of chairman for the meeting. Can I call for nominations for chair, please?
I'll nominate Councillor Jesse Foote.
Whom I will second.
Thank you. That's a proposal by Councillor Hayward and a seconder by Councillor Biscoe for Councillor Foote. Are we all in favour?
Yes,
Yes.
Councillor Foote here, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So over to you, Councillor Foote.
Thank you so much, Helen. So just briefly, before we start the full meeting, so well, actually, let's say second item on agenda is, are there any apologies for absence today, I should say? Take that as a no. And then do we have any declarations of interest from the members about any item on the agenda today? Okay, I'll take that as a no as well. Just to explain the procedure to Mr. and Mrs. McGregor, who are on the line with us. So what we'll start with is an introduction of the application from the licensing officer, and then we'll have a chance for the members to ask any questions of the officer about the application. It then is your turn as the applicant to present any information that you feel is relevant to the application, please. We'll then have an opportunity to question you on that. Now, we don't have any representations from responsible authorities. They've all been negotiated with additional conditions, but we do have representations from other persons in the community. So we have quite a few representations from people in the community. I was hoping that we would be joined by Chris and Jamie Smith today. I don't think they've joined the call yet, Helen, but hopefully they will. So it would then be over to them to explain some of their representations. Members will then have the opportunity to question them. The applicant, Mr. and Mrs. McGregor, you have the final say, so you'll have the final submission. So if you hear anything that you have concerns or questions about, anything that you want to address, I would ask that you would just jot those down. And then when it's your chance for your final submission, you would address those questions or concerns. Okay, so we're going to proceed now, but before we do that, does anybody have any questions about that process? That's fine. I'm hoping that nobody's on mute and talking while they're on mute. So after we've heard all of the submissions from various people, the subcommittee will retire to seek legal advice. We will then have a proposal, and we'll then come back into public session. So we'll come back to the live stream, and we will then announce the proposal, and we'll take a vote on that proposal, and that will be the decision of the subcommittee. So anybody who's here with us now, so Mr. and Mrs. McGregor, we won't be calling you back into the call for that, but you'll be able to watch the decision on the live stream, and you will get the full notification of that decision as soon as possible. Okay? Right, so if everybody's happy for me to proceed, I'll just ask quickly, are there any questions at all from anybody who's on the call or in the meeting at the moment? I'll take that as a silent no. So we only have one application to consider on today's agenda. This is the application for a grant of premises license for Harbourview House, 8 Fernley Terrace in St Ives. So if I could ask the officer, please, the licensing officer, to please present the application to us here today.
Good morning. An application has been received from Georgia McGregor from Harbourview House for the grant of a premises licence for Harbourview House, 8 Fernley Terrace, St Ives, TR26 2BH. The requested licensable activities and times are as follows: recorded music 0800 till 12 o'clock midday, 2300 to 0000, indoors only, 7 days a week. Late night refreshment 2300 hours to 0000, indoors only, 7 days a week. Supply of alcohol for consumption on and off the premises 12 o'clock to 0000, 7 days a week, and 24 hours a day to hotel residents and bona fide guests. The requested opening hours are 0800 to 0030, 7 days a week, and 24 hours a day to hotel residents and bona fide guests. During the consultation period, the applicant instructed the licensing officer to incorporate police suggested conditions into the application's operating schedule. These conditions are found as page 20 in my report. Although 12 representations were received from other persons during the consultation period, the licensing officer was instructed by 2 of the other persons to withdraw the representations. The other persons had made an assumption regarding the application, but on further investigation became aware they no longer had any concerns. The representations from 10 other persons considered that the granting of a premises licence would undermine the prevention of crime and disorder and prevention of public nuisance licensing objectives. These representations are on pages 23 to 35 of my report. The applicant sent to the licensing officer a copy of a letter they had distributed to the neighbours outlining the business plan to encourage neighbours to make contact to discuss the application or any other issues. Please see page 22 of my report. The panel must consider whether the steps proposed by the applicants in the operating schedule are adequate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. If so, you must grant the application. Alternatively, you may impose additional conditions that you consider necessary for the promotion of the licensing objectives. If additional conditions would not make the operating schedule adequate and it is necessary for the promotion of the licensing objectives, part or all of the application may be refused. Thank you.
So that was Emma Osmond, I should say, everybody, who's our licensing officer. So thank you for that, Emma. Do members have any questions for the licensing officer, please? Okay, there aren't any X's coming up in my box at the moment, but I have just a couple, well, at least one question for you, Emma. I wonder if you could enlighten me. In the letter that was sent out by the applicants, they referenced the Regent Hotel and say that it did operate as a restaurant, cafe, and bar. Can you tell me if the location ever had a premises license before to serve alcohol?
No, it didn't.
It didn't. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily operate as a bar, but as a restaurant and cafe.
Yes.
But there was never an alcohol license.
No alcohol
or
license.
late night refreshment.
No.
Okay, that's helpful to understand. And I'm just wondering if you could. Yes, sorry, Councillor Biscoe.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to orientate myself, if I may.
Yes.
With the various maps that have been supplied and the pictures, and in particular, because one of the pictures which is on page 16 of the licensing officer's report, one of the photographs shows what I assume is what it looks like the front of the building. And is actually the elevation of the building that points towards the sea. And there are, as I recollect, residential and commercial premises below that. It's up a cliff, basically. Is that correct?
Yes, as far as I'm aware.
Okay, and the part of the application that is seeking provision outdoors actually is not on that elevation. It's at the other side of the building by the road. Am I correct in that?
Correct.
Right. So I don't understand, therefore, the relevance of the photograph with the awnings and Regent Hotel, the one that's pointing towards the sea.
Okay, the photo with that was showing the Regent Hotel with the awning was just an example of when they'd had the outside area of what is their area, and it's not actually going onto the pavement. It was just to make that clear.
So I can't quite recollect, but is there a road running along the front of the building as well as along the back?
Yes.
So are we seeking an outdoor area at the front of the building or at the back?
The front of the building on the map is the area there, and there is an area that is like to the side that's been outlined in red on the map, on the premises plan map.
Right. Okay. That's the one that's outlined in black on mine, because I've got a photocopy.
Oh right, yes. On the original ones it would be in red.
Okay, so I'm sorry to pursue this, Chair, but I think this is very relevant to objections. There is a footway that comes up the hill, Fernley Terrace, and then there is a piece of ground which I assume is the rather nondescript photographs of paving in